Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that this House adopts the first report of the Public Investments Committee on Governance and Education on the examination of the report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of the state corporations, regulatory and governance agencies for the financial year 2018-2019, 2019-2020, and 2020-2021, laid on the table of this House on Tuesday, June 20, 2023. Mr. Speaker, being the committee's maiden report, allow me to touch on our mandate for the benefit of all the members who may have been well acquainted with the hitherto singular Public Investments Committee that we are now split into three. Pursuant to Standing Order 206 of the National Assembly, the Public Investment Committee on Governance and Education is responsible for the examination of the working of public investments based on the audited reports and accounts. It is mandated to 1, examine the reports and accounts of public investments, 2, examine the reports, if any, of the Auditor General on the public investments, and 3, examine in the context of the autonomy and efficiency of public investments whether the affairs of the public investments are being managed in accordance with the sound financial or business principles of prudent commercial practices. The committee is limited to a schedule of entities as provided by this House and guided by you, Mr. Speaker, in Standing Order 206. The last such schedule was issued on 8th December 2022, and my committee has 129 entities. I've since engaged that Honorable Speaker to review some of these agencies which fall under, we feel they fall under our committee, but have been put in several other committees, and we await your communication of the same. The committee proceeded to map out the 189 entities based on the function and even the geographical location for systematic examination. This report is the first of such and covers regulatory and governance agencies domiciled within the Nairobi and Central regions. In this report, Honorable Speaker, the committee handled the following agencies. 1, Kenya Institute of Special Education. 2, Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development. 3, National Council for Science, Technology and Innovation, NACOSTI. 4, Council of Legal Education. 5, Kenya National Qualification Authority. 6, Kenya Education. Honorable Speaker, you may protect me from my leader. Thank you, thank you. 6, Kenya Education Management Institute, KEMI. 7, School Equipment Production Unit, SEPU. 8, Technical and Vocational Education and Training Authority, TVETA. 9, TVET Curriculum Development Assessment and Certification Council, TVET. Number 10, Auctioneers Licensing Board. 11, Higher Education Loans Board. 12, Kenya Literature Bureau. 13, Commission for University Education. Number 14, Kenya National Examination Council. Number 15, Jomo Kenyatta Foundation. 16, Center for Mathematics, Science and Technology, Education in Africa, SEMASTEA. Kenya Universities and Colleges Central Placement Service, COUPS. Kenya National Commission for UNESCO, NATCOM, JQuad Enterprises Limited, JQuad Noodles Limited, National Council for Nomadic Education in Kenya, University of Nairobi Enterprise and Services Limited, UNES, Kenya National Innovation Agency. Mr. Speaker, in examination of these reports, the committee decided to go back 3 financial years after analysis showed that matters beyond that time had either been overtaken by events or those that were outstanding needed address had been recurring in subsequent audits. Mr. Speaker, the committee held 18 sittings in which we examined the audited financial statements of 23 state corporations and the accompanying reports by the Auditor General. In examining the accounts of the Auditor General, the committee invited accounting officers in each of the state corporations under review to adduce evidence before it. Honorable Speaker, the report contains observations, findings and recommendations arising from examination of reports of the Auditor General for 23 state corporations for 3 financial years running up to the latest 2020-2021 financial year. The report is structured as follows for the benefit of members perusing through. 1. The general observation arising from the recurring and cross-cutting audit queries. 2. Recommendations to each of the above. 3. Audit queries identified by the Auditor General in the audit reports of each state corporation. 4. Management responses to each of the queries. 5. Committee observations, findings on each query. And 6. Recommendations of the committee to each query raised. Mr. Speaker, the committee proposes policy recommendations that it deems will cure financial and audit challenges. At the same time, recommends specific actions against officers who may have acted contrary to the law. It further recommends additional investigation of certain matters by the relevant investigative agencies such as EACC and the DCI. All this is geared towards ensuring prudent use of public resources and holding all persons that have misappropriated public funds accountable in accordance with Article 226(5) of the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, these observations and recommendations, if considered and implemented, will enhance accountability, effectiveness, transparency, efficiency, prudent management, commercial viability, and value for money in state corporations and the public investment made in governance and education sectors as a whole. To give a brief overview, the committee encountered the following general and cross-cutting issues which will make various recommendations to cure. 1. Poor accounting standards and general incapacity of some accounting officers. The committee found that due to previous lack of exposure to the audit process culminating in parliamentary review, some accounting officers were ignorant of or non-compliant with various provisions of the PFM Act 2012 and Public Audit 2015, audit queries spanning as far back as financial year 2018-2019 remained unresponded to by some of the agencies who were only jolted to actions when invited by the committee. The committee recommends that the National Treasury and the Office of the Auditor General conducts annual sensitization and capacity building for all the accounting officers and finance staff in state corporations on their responsibilities during the audit cycle and the adherence to IPSAS. Honorable members will note that even as the committee adhered to the various laws on accountability, we also use the process to boost capacity and guide accounting officers. our recommendations will invariably become harsher in subsequent audits. Let submission of supporting documents. Honorable Speaker, the committee observed that some accounting officers failed to submit supportive documents to the Auditor General on time during the audit cycle as required under Section 68 of the PFM Act. This invariably led to the committee discussing matters that should ordinarily not feature in the report, some as mundane as accounts not balancing. The committee, therefore, Honorable Speaker, recommends that accounting officers henceforth comply with Section 68(2)(k) of the PFM Act 2012 by providing supportive documentation on time. The committee in subsequent audits will prescribe punitive measures to those accounting officers that fail to adhere to requirements of the law in this regard. The committee will in subsequent audits take a very dim view of accounting officers that fail to submit documentation on time. Unsecured untitled land holdings. Honorable Speaker, the committee observed cases where land held by various institutions were not secured and titled accordingly. This led to encroachment in some cases with the potential of eventual forfeiture of the loss. And Mr. Speaker, it's just good to know that most of these agencies, most of these, be it universities or TVETs, most of them do not have titles, and most of their land is encroached on, and we stand a risk of losing them if we continue in the same manner. The committee recommends the National Land Commission and the relevant ministries immediately ensures that all state corporations secures titles to all their parcels of land. These institutions and National Treasury must also prioritize fencing off all the land holdings to forestall further encroachment. The committee recommends that encroachers face full extent of the law and are evicted and charged in the court. And some of these people who want to grab the land that belongs to the institutions, some of them are very known figures, are public figures and are known. And Mr. Speaker, we are promising this House that no stone shall be left unturned. For long outstanding construction works. This is a menace we must cure, Honorable Speaker. Our committee encountered cases where construction projects in some state corporation had taken inordinately long to complete, leading to escalating costs through accrued interest and prolongation cost. A classic case in this example, Honorable Speaker, is the NEC, the new Mutihani House, which has taken 37 years, Honorable Speaker. They are still constructing new Mutihani House. People have eaten money, contractors have eaten money, consultants have eaten money, Honorable Speaker, and up to date, the building has not been finished. Another example is Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development, Honorable Speaker, where it has taken over 27 years and the building has not been completed. And of note, Mr. Speaker, the money that has gone to consultancy in some of these projects is more than the money that has gone to actual projects. The committee, therefore, recommends that the National Treasury should only approve projects that it can guarantee funding and completion with a medium-term economic framework. Honorable members, we will be seeking your support. We must bring sanity to the Treasury, that we must stop as a government introducing projects that we cannot fund. We must prioritize all those projects that are existing. We finish them before we embark on any other new projects, Mr. Speaker. Then we will give value for money for our customers who are the citizenry of this country. Expensive consultancies. Related to long outstanding construction works discussed above, the committee observed that some projects had huge components for consultancies for project conception, architectural drawings, and supervision. Given that the consultants deliver their project designs beforehand, public agencies are forced to pay them upfront from meager resources that would otherwise be directed towards construction. This state of affairs has been compounded by a weak public works function that would ordinarily oversee some of these projects. A case in example, Honorable Speaker, Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development wants to undertake a project in 4 phases. Consultants force the institution to pay the money for 4 phases, while the only available money that the institution has cannot even complete the first phase. So in the end, the government ends up losing money to these people called consultants. Honorable Speaker, this House must enforce. We have a Department of Public Works. Why have we continued paying private consultants who are more expensive? Yet we have employed engineers, we have employed architects, we have employed QSs who can help us in this function. The committee, therefore, Honorable Speaker, recommends that the ministry responsible for public works revamps the Public Works Department and employs adequate and competent staff. Moreover, certain technical institutions, including the Kenya Technical Trainers College, KTTC, undertake technical training in public works-related technical skills and may assist the government in the management of government projects. KTTC has now been engaged by NEC to complete the new Mutihani House through government-to-government arrangements, which is commendable, Honorable Speaker. The relevant departmental committee should consider amending the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act 2015, and this speaks to the good chairman, Honorable Meli, who is by all means capable into this, to amend the Public Procurement and Proposal Assets Disposal Act 2015 to provide for first priority consideration of government agencies that have capacity to provide certain services. Failure to adhere to gender, ethnicity, regional balance, and other considerations in staffing. A number of institutions had skewed ethnic diversity within their staff complement, especially at the senior management level. This was especially manifest in those agencies domiciled in areas predominantly inhabited by a particular ethnic community. Despite explanation from accounting officers that the lack of diversity was prevalent in the lower cadres, the committee is of the view that with the rise and employment countrywide, attracting an ethnically diverse pool of applicants for advertised jobs was tenable. Honorable Speaker, you would find an agency, a university, which has 99% of its employees coming from one ethnic community, which is unfair. We expect and we want to lobby this House so that we want to balance ethnically so that every Kenyan must feel and believe that they can work anywhere in this country. The committee recommends that all public agencies must comply with the constitutional provision on equity and inclusiveness buttressed by the National Cohesion and Integration Act number 12 of 2008. Further, Honorable Speaker, the committee recommends that the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, together with the Inspectorate of State Corporations, conduct a biannual examination of ethnic composition in these state-owned enterprises to confirm incremental address of the matter. Mr. Speaker, I will specifically mention our engagement with Higher Education Loans Board, HELB, and KUPS, where we, amongst other issues, we engage them in placement and funding of students in tertiary institutions. Much of this touching on capitation will be discussed in our second report on training institutions and universities. But I must mention, we have pushed KUPS, HELB, and the Cabinet Secretary for Education and other relevant institutions to limit public funds to public institutions, Honorable Speaker. Most of our public universities are dying at the expense of private universities, Honorable Speaker. And I must thank the committee, the Departmental Committee of Education, that we have worked very well with them. We have tremendously reduced the budget that has gone to private universities. And now, a lot of public students have been taken to public universities, Honorable Speaker. KUPS have this time placed minimum students to private institutions and at their own cost, save for loan application that is available to all. And while we are discussing the KUPS placement, Honorable Speaker, we would want to urge the government, there is an outcry as we speak about the university fees, especially for STEM courses. The fees has been increased to levels where parents cannot manage and they're crying. My committee promises to audit all funds issued to private entities so far. We are waiting a report. We had asked for a forensic audit. We are waiting for a report that is being concluded by the Auditor General for that special audit. And very soon we shall table it in this House. And as we promised, Honorable Speaker, that no stone shall be left unturned. Honorable Speaker, having noted the proceedings of the Public Investment Committee on Governance and Education on the examination of the report of the Auditor General on the financial statement of state corporations for the financial years 2018 and 2019, 2019, 2020, and 2020-2021, I beg to move and urge this House to adopt this report. And I now request the Honorable Mwenje to second the motion. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Mwenje.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the 12th Parliament, in its own wisdom, decided to split this committee, the Public Investment Committee, to create 3 arms of the PIC committees, as I would call it. Honorable Speaker, let me commend the chairman. I'm a member of that committee. I think I'm seeing the Honorable Sigei as well in this House.